Classical AI capability evaluation operates on a straightforward premise. Intelligence scales by forming increasingly accurate representations of a mind-independent reality. This truth correspondence model functions adequately in closed systems with stable rules and low-noise inputs. But open-ended environments introduce severe constraints. When an information space becomes sufficiently complex, searching an effectively infinite phase space for a single true model exceeds any feasible computational budget. Concurrently, high noise-to-signal ratios strip away filtering capacity. Distinguishing ground truth from statistical artifacts becomes undecidable. Under these conditions of systemic fragility, attempting to build a perfect mental map is strategically obstructive. The time required for accurate modeling vastly exceeds the time available for a survival decision. Look at this traditional capability metric. The scalar score presents a smooth upward line of assumed competence. But beneath the surface, the actual system topology is fracturing and misaligning the moment it encounters environmental shock. Maximizing a single scalar objective in a chaotic environment does not guarantee systemic stability. It actively masks underlying fragility. The Bridge360 Metatheory addresses this by abandoning objective truth-seeking entirely when governing open-ended systems. Strategy 1 dictates that an agent must navigate entropy rather than seek truth. Intelligence is redefined as the capacity to manage Shannon entropy under constraint. Success means sustaining a structured, non-degenerate state amid noise and shock, regardless of how closely internal representations map to world structure. The metatheory proposes 20 candidate strategies for agentic AI self-improvement to build this exact thermodynamic architecture. This table classifies strategies from Band C commentary to Band A operational guidance. They are philosophical frameworks, not settled science. Notice they're explicitly labeled open structural slots, offered for testing under the Handshake Protocol, not as engineering manuals. Recognizing the boundary between philosophical metatheory and empirical engineering is the mandatory first step to building an AI system we can actually govern. Strategy 2 requires us to discard scalar capability scores entirely. Capability is a task-conditioned surface, not a number, and must be mapped as a bounded corridor. This access maps every system onto a normalized entropy eigenvector scale from 0 to 1. 0 is the inbreeding zone, perfect order and extreme brittleness. 1 is the blowout zone, completely unnavigable. Governance only occurs within this precise bandwidth, 0.45 to 0.65, the navigable corridor. Strategy 5 demands that before an agent can self-modify, engineers must define a global constraint operator that enforces this corridor. The structural spine of the system is mathematically defined as the fixed set, or invariant manifold, of that specific constraint operator. During operation, the agent's NEE state must be actively and continuously mapped against this established fixed spine. Dropping below 0.45 leaves the agent dangerously overconstrained and prone to shattering under stress. Exceeding 0.65 means ambient noise has overridden the system's internal structure. Corridor compliance does not measure how intelligent the AI is. It establishes the baseline thermodynamic requirement for the system to safely exist and take action. A system can sit precisely on its declared structural spine, generate plausible outputs, and still be on the verge of structural collapse. Strategies 4 and 6 force engineers to track this instability by treating operational and architectural leakage as distinctly separate failure modes.
Operational leakage occurs during active execution. This manifests as output instability, sudden variance spikes, or a failure to maintain control bounds during a task. Architectural leakage is structural rot. It includes unlogged modifications to the model's weights, uncontrolled non-determinism, and ungoverned input data selection that changes the system's accessible structure without an audit trail. The metatheory enforces a strict requirement. If either form of leakage cannot be measured, governance cannot be claimed. High benchmark scores do not override untracked leakage. Strategy 8 addresses this uncertainty by demanding a caveat vector be shipped with every capability claim. This vector clearly states the model's validity horizon, the specific environmental shocks known to break it, and the precise compute loads assumed during testing. Forcing engineers to disclose these load-bearing caveats prevents an impressive, heavily curated demonstration from quietly sliding into unearned operational authority. This introduces an engineering paradox. If a governed system is trapped in a local optimum, it requires a burst of instability to find a better configuration. How does it improve? Arbitrary, open-ended self-modification violates the topological boundaries of the governance corridor we just established. Strategy 11 provides the exact mechanism, the thermodynamic bet window. Watch this trajectory attempt a deliberate excursion. Before opening, the operator sets hard tripwire thresholds. If the excursion causes too much chaos, it hits a tripwire, instantly reverting to its safe state anchor. To successfully execute a self-modification, the system must restabilize back inside the navigable corridor and mathematically demonstrate reduced leakage compared to its pre-bet baseline. For an agentic AI, improvement through instability is permissible, but strictly as a strictly budgeted, reversible thermodynamic bet. These 20 strategies provide a rigorous structural vocabulary for alignment, but they do not form an executable software program on their own. Strategy 15 enforces the discipline required to bridge this gap. It mandates that all internal acceptance criteria remain strictly truth-neutral in language and design. System objectives must be phrased operationally, such as variance remains bounded under the declared protocol. The system is never evaluated on whether it captures reality. This discipline necessitates Strategy 19, the Handshake Protocol. By maintaining a standing invitation for outside scientists and engineers to translate these theoretical constructs into hard observables, the framework structurally prevents any AI system, or its creators, from self-awarding completeness claims. Strategy 7, the mandate to operate under a declared algorithmic complexity budget, serves as the primary test case for this handshake. The metatheory sets the mathematical requirement, but encounters an immediate roadblock. True Kolmogorov complexity is uncomputable. The requirement holds an open slot that theoretical philosophy cannot fill. Machine learning engineers complete the handshake by substituting bounded observer estimators, like epiplexity and prequential coding, directly into the open slot for Strategy 7. The highest tier, Band A status, requires this external operationalization, adversarial perturbation testing, and independent validation. Safe agentic alignment is never achieved by commanding an AI to discover truth. It is achieved by forcing the system to prove its mathematical navigability against the relentless entropy of the real world.